Good evening, friends. This is Manjunath Badgi. Today, in CSAT paper, 53 questions have been asked out of a total of 80. I mean to say, other than English part. Okay, 53 questions are related to reasoning and say aptitude. Okay, and the cutoff is, as you all know, it is 27, and there are a minimum of 30 easy questions which can be managed. Okay, so the secret of success in CSAT is you don't have to solve tough problems. Okay, that is the secret of success, and it is more of a qualifying in nature. So if you mark 30 correctly without marking any answers incorrectly, then the job is done, right? So let's see. First, let us target 27. First, let us target 27 and pass the exam. Okay, then I will solve the remaining questions also. Okay, so I'm starting with the last 80th question. 80th question is on series 2, 7, 22, 67, 202, X, and the last one is 1822. 2, 7, 22, 67, 202, X, 1822. So find the value of this X. What is the value of X in this sequence? See, here you will have to study the relationship between the numbers. 2 has become 7. One way of getting 7 from 2 is 2 cube is 8 minus 1, right? But you cannot use the same relationship between the next two. 7 cube is 343 minus 1 will give you 342, but here it is only 22. So that logic is ruled out, right? See, how else we can get 7 from 2? 2 3s are 6 plus 1. 7 came. 7 3s are 21 plus 1. We got 22. So the logic is working here. 22 3s are 66 plus 1 gets us 67. 67 2s are 67 2s are is how much? Sorry, 67 3s are. All are being multiplied by 3. 67 3s are 3, 7s are 21, 3 6 are 18 plus 2, 201 plus 1 gives us 202. Now the final thing, 202 should also be multiplied by 3. 202 should also be multiplied by 3, and in the end you will have to add 1. So the final answer is 607. The third option is the correct answer. This is everything about this problem, the last problem. 80th problem, 607. Okay. So according to me, it is one of the easiest problems on series. It's not a tough problem. Moving on to the 79th. Consider two statements and 4 conclusions given below. You have to take the statements to be true even if they seem to be at variance from the commonly known facts. Read all the conclusions and then decide which of the given conclusions logically follows from the statements disregarding the commonly known facts. Okay. So some greens are blues. Statement number 2, some blues are blacks. So using these two statements, you will have to draw conclusions. Statement number 1 says some greens or blues. Some greens or blues. Statement number 2, it is some blues or blacks. Some blues or blacks. These are the two statements given. So first we will have to write the converses for these two statements. Converse means reverse. All converses are straight away correct conclusions. Now I will be writing conclusions by writing converses. Converse means reverse, which is understood. Some greens or blues will automatically give us some blues or green. So the first correct conclusion, some blues are greens. So just come reverse. Converse means just reverse. So some greens are blues, some blues are greens. Statement number 2 goes like this. Some blues are blacks. So come reverse. Some blacks are blues. Some blacks are blues. These two are correct conclusions only because these are the converses of the given statements. So check whether these are there or not in the conclusions. Conclusion number 1 says some greens are blacks. Is it there? No. Conclusion 2, no green is black. It is not there. All greens are blacks. No. All blacks are greens. No. Meaning none of the conclusions follow. So the last option is the correct answer. Neither conclusion 1 nor 2 nor 3 nor 4 will follow. Okay. Moving on to the 78th question on this. Which day is the 10th October 2027? See, we all know today it is 10th October 2021 and we want to go to 10th October 2027. Same date, same month, only the years are being jumped. Okay. How many years we are jumping here? 21 to 27. How many years we are jumping? We are jumping 6 years. 21 to 27. We are jumping how many years? 6 years. See, to jump 1 year, you will have to jump 1 day. Best example. If you want to jump 1 year, if you want to jump, you will have to jump 365 days because 365 days in a year. If you divide it by 7, 7 5s are 35, 7 2s are 14, plus 1 will remain. Plus 1 meaning next day. So, to jump a year, jumping a year next day is the answer. If you want to jump 1 year, you will have to jump 1 day. So, everything depends on the remainder that we get. The remainder is plus 1 meaning next day. So, to jump a year, you will have to jump 1 day. But here you are jumping 6 years. 6 years you are jumping only means you will have to jump 6 days. 1 year, 1 day. 6 years, 6 days. That is one thing. But in between, we are coming across leap years. We are coming across leap years. How many leap years we are coming across? 2020 is a leap year, as we all know. The next leap year will be 2024 and this is the only leap year that is coming in between 2021 and 2027. So, in this leap year, from this leap year, you will have to jump 29th February. So, that will be one more extra day. So, other than these 6 days plus 29th February 2024, that is one more extra day that you will have to jump. So, in all you are jumping how many days? 6 if all are normal years, plus 1. Why plus 1? Only because of this 29th February 2024. So, in all we are jumping 7 days. And if you want to jump 7 days divided by 7, 7 ones are 7, 0 is the remainder. 0 remainder meaning same day. So today is Sunday, 10th October, we are writing the exam. So after 7 days, again the same day of the week will repeat. The answer is Sunday. The very first option, Sunday, is the correct answer. Right? So everything depends on the remainder that we are getting here. If the remainder is 0, same day. If it is +1, next day. If it is +2, 2 days next. If it is -1, previous day, -2, 2 days back. If it is 0, same day. Positive, go front. Negative, get back. Okay. So this is everything about this problem. So we have successfully solved 3 problems. Now moving on to the 77th. That is also a problem on calendar. And in this question paper, he has asked more than 3 only on calendar. Okay. So 77th, consider the 2 statements and a question. Statement number 1, the last day of the month is a Wednesday. Statement number 1 says, statement number 1 is saying, the last day of the month. The last day of the month is Wednesday. Can you use this statement? We cannot use this statement only because he has not given how many days are there in that month. In that month, whether there are 28 days or 29 days or 30 days or 31 days, we don't have information. Therefore, we cannot answer any question using this statement. Okay. Moving on to statement number 2, the third Saturday of the month was the 17th day. The third Saturday is 17th day. Okay. Now coming to the question part, what day is the 14th of the given month? What day is the 14th of the given month? So third Saturday is 17th, meaning 17th is Saturday. 16th will be automatically Friday. 15th is Thursday. 14th is Wednesday. So the answer is Wednesday. So to solve this problem, we used only the second statement. So second statement alone is sufficient to answer the question asked. So which one will you mark? Statement 1 alone is sufficient to answer the question, that is wrong. Statement 2 alone is sufficient to answer the question, that is correct answer. So 2 alone is more than sufficient to mark the correct answer. First statement, why it is not sufficient? The reason being, when we can use this information, if the question asked is like this, which day of the week will be the very first day of the next month, right? The last day of this month is given, that is Wednesday. The very first day of the next month will be, then you can easily answer Thursday. There you can use this information. Otherwise, we cannot use this information to answer any question in fact. So this is everything about 77th problem. Moving on to the 76th one. Half of the villagers of a certain village have their own houses. 1/5 of the villagers, I will be writing here, half have their own house. Half of them have got own house. 1/5 of the villagers cultivate paddy. 1/5 of the villagers cultivate paddy. 1/3 of the villagers are literate. 1/3 are literate. And 4/5 of the villagers, 4 by 5, 4/5 of the villagers are under 25 years of age. under 25 years of age. Which one of the following statements is certainly correct? All the villagers who have their own houses are literate. Some villagers under 25 years of age are literate. Only half of the villagers who cultivate paddy are literate. No villager under 25 years of age has his own house. These are the options. See, when we come across fractions, if the fractions are used in the problem, then concentrate on the denominators first. Which are the denominators here? 2, 5, 3, 5. These are the denominators. Go for LCM. 5 can divide 5, strike it out. 5 2s are 10, 10 3s are 30. Let us assume that the population of the village is 30. Let us assume that the population of the village is 30. If you go with the LCM and assume the population, assume the total, then you will never come across decimals. Just to avoid decimals and fractions, we can go with the LCM. Okay, that is the only objective behind going for LCM. Now coming to this, half of them own, half the villagers have their own house. Half means how many? 15. 15 own house. 15 villagers have got own house out of a total of 30. Now we are free from fractions. 1/5. 1/5. 1/5 of 30, off means into. 1/5 of 30 is 5 ones are 5 6 are 6 are cultivating paddy. 1/3 are literates. 1/3 of means into 1/3 of 30. 3 ones are 3 tens are 10 are literates. What else? 4/5. Here I will be writing 4/5 of 30. Off means into. 5 ones are 5 6 are 6 4s are 24. 24 are below 25 years of age. So these are the data that we have got now. We have assumed that 30 is the total population. 15 have got their own house, 6 are cultivating paddy, 10 are literate, 24 of 30 are of below 25 years of age. Now coming to the question part, which one of the following statements is certainly correct? 100% it must be correct. Okay. So first option says all the villagers who have their own houses are literate. How many have got own house? 15 of them have got their own house. Can they all be literate? No, only because there are only 10 literate people you will get to see in the village. Therefore, first is straight away wrong. All the villagers who have their own houses are literate, straight away wrong, because 15 have got their own house and all cannot be from these 10. Right. Now moving on to the second option says some villagers under 25 years of age are literate. How many are below 25? Below 25 years of age? 24. And of these 24, some are from literates. How can we be sure about it? See here, there are 24 people who are of below 25 years of age. Total is 30. It only goes to say that more than 25, how many are there? 6. Even if all these 6 come from these 10, even if all these 6 come from these 10 literates, at least 4 will be from this category, that is below 25 years of age, and he is saying the same thing. Some villagers under 25 years of age are literate. That is 100% correct. So, second option should be marked. Now, let's see why the other two options are wrong. The third option says only half of the villagers who cultivate paddy are literate. Paddy 6 and only half of them are from literates. We cannot be sure because there are total 30, 10 are literate, 20 are illiterate, and these 6 can come from those 20, therefore that is wrong. The last option, no villager under 25 years of age has his own house. So, in 24, none can be from these 15, that is also straight away wrong. On the very face of it, we can negate it. This is everything about problem number 76. Moving on to 75th. Consider the following table. There are 4 players, A, B, C and D. Runs scored in the first innings, balls faced in the first innings. Runs scored in the second innings, balls faced in the second innings is given about all these 4 batsmen. And the question, coming to the question part, who is the fastest run scorer in the test match? The options are A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D. A has faced 99 balls in the first innings and 76 balls in the second innings. Total how many balls he has faced? 175 balls he has faced. 175 balls he has faced. And his score, how many runs he has scored? 61 in the first innings, 14 in the second innings. 61 plus 14 gives us 75. So out of a total of 175 balls faced, he has scored only 75 runs. Now moving on to B, 12 balls faced in the first innings, 85 in the second innings. 12 and 85, 97 balls he has faced in all. 97 balls he has faced in all. And how many runs he has scored? First innings 5 runs, second innings 50 runs, 55 runs he has scored. Now moving on to C, balls faced in the first innings, balls faced in the second innings, 75 and 50, that is total 125 balls he has faced. And how many runs he has scored in all? 15 and 20, 35. Coming to D, 55 in the first innings, number of balls faced, and 50 balls he has faced in the second innings, total 105. The total number of balls he has faced is 105, and how many runs he has scored in all? Both the innings together, 13 and 12, 25. This is clear. Now, the question, coming to the question part, who is the fastest run scorer in the test match? Who is the fastest? See, 175 balls he has faced. 175 balls he has faced. How many runs he has scored? 75. Not even half. Not even half. 175. 175 half is how much? 87.5. But not even half he has scored. Even if he scores half, we can say that his strike rate is 50%. Okay, 50.0 we can say, right? Here, the half of 97 is half of 97. Half of 97, 55 is more than, meaning his strike rate is more than 50%. Now coming to C, half of 125 is 62 something, 62 and a half, but it is far below, meaning less than 50. Strike rate is less than 50. Here also less than 50. Then who is the fastest? B is the fastest. On the very face of it, we can judge the answer. Hardly we have done any calculations. Okay. So even if you find it difficult to make 175 half, you can go with the round figures. Even if you take 180, half is 90, but it is far below 90, less than, right? Even if you take this as 100 round figure, half of 100 is 50, and he has of course crossed that figure. So B is the fastest, right? So this is everything about problem number 75. Moving on to the next one. 68th problem. In an objective type test of 90 questions, 5 marks are allotted for every correct answer and 2 marks are deducted for every wrong answer. After attempting all the 90 questions, a student got a total of 387 marks. Full stop. What is the number of incorrect responses? Okay, there is negative marking also here. In all, there were 90 questions, and even if he knows there is negative marking, he has marked all the questions. And if you mark correctly, you will get 5 marks, and there is a penalty for every wrong answer, 2 mark negative marking. Okay, so in the end, his final score is 387. The question mark is on the number of incorrect responses. How many questions he has answered correctly, we don't know. Correct. C means C stands for correct. How many questions he has answered wrong, that also we don't know. The number of questions answered correctly, the number of questions answered incorrectly. Total number of questions is 90, that is given. For each and every question answered correctly will fetch him 5 marks. So 5 into C will give us total incoming mark. And for every wrong answer, he is losing 2 marks. And he has answered, he has marked W number of questions incorrectly. So 2W number of marks he will lose. So 5C incoming, 2W outgoing, balance is how much? 3, 8, 7. And the question mark is on incorrect responses. We want the value of W. How to get the value of W? So if you want the value of W, it only goes to say that we don't want C term. Somehow we will have to eliminate C, target C. How that can be done? Here it is 5C, here it is only 1C. Make this also 5C and then subtract one from the other and you will be free from C, right? So if you want to make this as 5C, you will have to multiply the first equation by 5. And if you want to multiply the first equation, if you want to multiply this term by 5, you will have to multiply the whole equation by 5. So if you multiply the whole equation, first equation by 5, what will you get? 5C plus 5W is equal to 5 into 9. Second equation, keep it as it is. Now subtract the second from the first. 5C minus 5C out. 5W minus 2W. Here 450 minus 387. 10 minus 7, 15 minus 9. 5W plus, minus into minus will give us plus 2W is 63. 7 W's are 63, 7 ones are 7 nines are, W value 9. W meaning the number of incorrect responses, and that is being asked. Therefore, the very first option is the correct answer. W stands for number of questions he has answered incorrectly. And if you want to cross verify the answer or say how to solve this problem using options, both mean the same. Okay. Now let's see how to get this confirmed. Total number of questions 90. 9 questions incorrect, meaning 81 correct. 81 correct, 9 incorrect, total 90. So for every wrong answer, he will be losing 2 marks, meaning he has lost 18 marks. For every correct answer, he will get 5 marks. 5 ones are 5, 5 eights are. So incoming is 405, outgoing is 18. Balance is how much? 15 minus 8, 10 minus 2, 4 minus 1. Of course, he has scored 387 marks. Friends, moving on to 67th one, 67th problem. At which one of the following times do the hour hand and the minutes hand of the clock make an angle of 180 degrees with each other? So it's sharp 7 hours, 700 hours, between 700 hours and 705 hours. At 705 hours, between 705 hours and 710 hours. Okay, see here, this is 7 o'clock. This is how they look when the time is 7 o'clock. How much is the gap here? The gap is 35 minutes. The gap is 35 minutes. But we want the gap to read 30 minutes because only then we can expect 180 degrees as he is saying. He is clearly using the word angle of 180 degrees. See, this is how they look when the time is 6 o'clock. And of course, the angle is 180 degrees, meaning 30 minutes gap. 30 minutes gap, 180 degrees, all these mean the same. 30 degrees, 180, 30 minutes gap, 180 degrees, straight line, all these mean the same. So we want 30 minutes, the gap to read 30 minutes, but here it is 35 minutes, meaning 5 minutes need to be covered up. 5 minutes need to be covered up. And to cover, there is a trick. The minutes to be covered should be multiplied by 12 by 11. So 5 minutes need to be covered, that must be multiplied by 12 by 11. 60 by 11. 60 divided by 11. 11 5s are 55. So 11 5s are 55. So 5 by 11 minutes past 7. This is the final answer. This is the correct answer. What's the meaning? Meaning it is after 705 hours. So after 705 hours, there is only one. There is only one option, that is last option, between 705 hours and 710 hours. That should be marked the last option. D is the correct answer. Moving on to the next one, that is on coding and decoding. Problem number 66. Coding and decoding. Mathematics. The code for mathematics is given. And the code for chemistry is asked. Mathematics is written as LBS, IDN, ZU, HDR. Now the question mark is on chemistry in the same language. How will you write chemistry? So after L it is M. After L it is M. After B it should be C. After A it is B. After H it is I. After S T. After D we must write E. After H I. After M N. BIDN is sufficient to mark the correct answer. So check the second option. It is BIDN, and there is only one option starting with BIDN. Okay, BIDN HTSSX. So second option is the correct answer. You don't have to check the rest. Soon after getting BIDN, you can mark the final answer. So this is everything about problem number 66. Moving on to problem number 64. P scored 40 marks more than Q in an examination. If Q scored 10% less marks than P, then how much did Q score? In the end, he is asking us to find out the marks scored by Q. If you go by the very first option, Q has scored 360. If you go by the very first option. Now read the first statement. P scored 40 marks more than Q. P scored 40 marks more than Q goes to say that P will be scoring 400. Only then we can say that he has scored 40 marks more than him. Now read the second statement. If Q scored 10% less marks than P, 10 per means line, cent means century, off means into 400. 0000, 10 fours are 40. Of course, Q has scored 40 marks less than P. Of course, he has scored 10% less marks than P. Everything is all right with the first option. Therefore, first option straight away will be the correct answer. This is everything about problem number 64. Moving on to problem number 63. Jay and Ajay spent an equal amount of money to buy some pens and special pencils of the same quality from the same store. If J is here, and let us write Vijay on this side. J bought 3 pens and 5 pencils. And Vijay bought 2 pens. Vijay bought 2 pens and 7 pencils. And they are spending equal amount of money. So these need to be equal to each other. It is an equation. On this side we have got 3 pens. On this side we have got 2 pens. Compared to the right hand side, on the left hand side we have 1 pen extra. Equal sign as it is in between. Coming to pencils, on that side, on the left hand side we have 5 pencils, and on the right there are 7 pencils. Compared to the left hand side, on the right hand side we have got 2 pencils extra. Assuming 1 pen will cost you 10 rupees, 1 pen will cost us 10 rupees. Pencil will surely cost us 5 rupees because 2 times pencil, 2 times 5, meaning 10 rupees pen, pencil 5 rupees. 5 twos are 10, twice the amount spent on pencils, right? So what's the meaning? The cost of pen is obviously double that of the cost of pencil. Is it there in the options? First option says a pencil costs more than a pen. Is pencil costing more than pen? No. Moving on to the second one, the price of a pencil is equal to that of a pen. Price of pencil is of course not equal to that of a pen. Moving on to the third one, the price of a pen is 2 times the price of a pencil. The price of pen is 2 times the price of pencil. Everything is all right with the third option, and that should be marked. Now let's see the fourth one, why it is wrong. The price of a pen is 3 times. It is not 3 times, it is 2 times. Therefore, the last one is wrong. The third option is 100% correct. So, problem number 63, third option C is the correct answer. So, this is everything about this problem. Moving on to problem number 60. An amount of money was distributed among A, B, C in the ratio P is to Q is to R. P, Q, R. In this ratio, we are distributing the amount to A, B, and C. Consider the following statements. A gets maximum share if P is greater than Q and R. A gets maximum share if P is greater than Q plus R. So, P is greater than Q plus R. Let us take P as a 10, Q as 6, otherwise you can take 4, you can take any number in fact, 4, 3. So, 4 and 3 together, see 10 is of course greater than 4 plus 3. 10 is of course greater than 4 plus 3. A gets maximum share if P is greater than Q plus R. Q plus R is 7 and 10 is of course greater than 7. So, when P is 10, A will be getting maximum share. Of course, he is getting maximum share compared to B and C. B is getting only 4 rupees, C is getting only 3 rupees, but A is getting 10 rupees. Now, statement number 2, C gets minimum. C gets minimum if R is less than P plus Q. C is getting minimum if R is less than P plus Q. 3 is of course less than P plus Q. 3 is of course less than 14. Which one of the following statements are correct? The answer is both are correct. So, the third option, both 1 and 2, that should be marked. Both 1 and 2, right? So, first is also correct, second is also correct. So, in this kind of cases, it is better you go with some numbers according to the statements, right? So, this is everything about this one. Moving on to problem number 59. Moving on to problem number 59. There are 6 persons arranged in a row. Another person has to shake hands with 3 of them so that he should not shake hands with 2 consecutive persons. In how many distinct possible combinations can the handshakes take place? The options are 3, 4, 5, 6. Assuming the 6 persons are A, B, C, D, E and F. Now a stranger came here and he wants to go for handshake with only 3 of them, and the condition is he should not shake hands with 2 consecutive persons. He can go with A, B is ruled out, C, D is ruled out, E, right? Or after A, he can go straight away with D and then F, okay? Or A, C, F will also come. See, A, C, F, A, C, F, right? If he, in the beginning, if he goes for a handshake with B, then he can go for a handshake with D and then F. So, how many are possible? 4. So, the second option is correct answer, 4. This is the practical thing. Practically, we are done here. Okay. So, in all these handshakes, he has not gone for any two with any two consecutive persons. That is one thing. And in all the 3 cases, there are 3 handshakes only, and all are picked from those 6 only. So, everything is all right with this. Problem number 57. Consider the following statements. The sum of 5 consecutive integers can be 100. The product of 3 consecutive natural numbers can be equal to their sum. See, when we say 5 numbers, that too consecutive, and it is 100. 5 and 100. It only goes to say that 20 must be one of the numbers. Okay, if you take 1 as 20, 2 numbers lesser than 20, 2 numbers greater than 20, then everything will get balanced. These are the 5 consecutive natural numbers which will give you the total 100. Add all these numbers and you will surely get 100. So, first statement is very much clear. That is possible. Okay. Now, moving on, now let us check the second one. The product of 3 consecutive natural numbers can be equal to their sum. When he says product, you cannot go with bigger numbers. If you go with bigger numbers, then you will cross 100 mark. But he is saying the product should be equal to their sum. Okay. Therefore, think of only smaller numbers. The product is how much? First of all, these 3 are consecutive natural numbers, continuous numbers, and the product is 6. And if you add, of course, we are getting 6, same 6, meaning both are equally true. Therefore, the third option should be marked, both 1 and 2. First is also correct. Which one of the following statements are correct? Both the statements are correct. Moving on to problem number 55. In the series, he has given the series B, A, B, A, again B, AB, AB, dash, AAB. Here, what you must do is check how many letters are there in all, including these dash. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18. In all, there are 18. If there are 18, then you can break it like this. If it is 15, you can break it like this. Okay. Now they are 18 in number, you can break like this. So you can go for 6 groups of 3 each or 3 groups of 6 each. Don't break it like this. Okay. So 3 into 6 meaning group of 3. How many groups are there in all? 6. Now I will be breaking these. Right. See here, if you check, if you study all these groups, what will you see? 2 A's are there, only 1 B. Here 2 B's and only 1 A. Here 2 A's, only 1 B. It is like this. See, if you go with the last option, in the first you can write A, then B, then again A, then B, then again A, then again B. Now, can we see any pattern in this after filling up the last option in the series? See, first group is ABB. This is the first group. Third group is also same. Check it out. ABB. This is fourth, fifth is again same. Fifth group is again same. ABB. So first, third, fifth, all are same. ABB, ABB, ABB. Now let us study the connection between second, fourth and sixth group alternately, right? So second, fourth and sixth, AAB, AAB, AAB. So all odd groups are giving us AAB, and all even groups are giving us A, B, B. All these are odd groups, and this is even. This is even. So even groups are giving us AAB, and the odd groups are giving us ABB. This is the pattern that we can notice after filling up the last option. Okay, the last option is AB, AB, AB. So once you fill up, you will get to see a pattern. If you don't get to see any pattern, then you change the option and check the pattern. But see to it that there must be one pattern, only then it will become correct. This is everything about problem number 60. Friends, moving on to problem number 54. It's a problem on chessboard. If I draw a square of size 3 by 3, 3 by 3 size, diagonally we will have again 3 only. This side 3, this side also 3. If I draw a square of size 4 by 4, 4 by 4, again 4, 4 diagonally, right? So chessboard is of size 8 by 8. Chessboard is of size 8 by 8, right? Why 8 by 8? King and queen at the center, 2 horses, 2 camels, 2 elephants. These are in fact called knights and bishops, rooks, king and queen at the center. So total 8. Just chessboard is of size 8 by 8. Only goes to say that just like this, it is 8 by 8 size square. And if 8 by 8 size square, then if it is 8 by 8 square, then it will surely have how many? If it is 8 by 8 size, then it will surely have 8 squares diagonally like this. These are diagonal squares. Fifty-fourth problem, on a chessboard, in how many different ways can 6 consecutive squares be chosen on the diagonals along a straight path? Diagonally, we will have to choose, and we will have to choose 6. In how many ways that can be done? See here, these 6 are of course on a straight line. We can select these squares, 6 squares. Consecutive, of course they are consecutive and they are diagonally. And from this side you can select 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. These 6 also you can select from this end. Same way, this end 6, from that end again 6. So on this diagonal you will get to see 2, on this diagonal you will get to see 2, 2 and 2 total 4, and that is the final answer. So the very first option 4 is the correct answer. This is everything about problem number 54. Moving on to problem number 53. This is a straight line. There are 3 points P, Q and R on a straight line such that PQ is to QR is equal to 3 is to 5. If n is the number of possible values of PQ and PR, then what is n equal to? So here it is P, here it is Q, here it is R. These are 3 points on a straight line. PQ and QR is 3 is to 5. What is the meaning? If PQ is 3 centimeter, QR will be how much? 5 centimeter. And that is the only possible thing. That is the only possible thing. Therefore, the final answer is the very first option, 1. Then what is the value of, what is n equal to? It is 1 only. If n is the number of possible values, the number of possible values will give you only 1. Okay. So if 1 is 3, that is if PQ is 3 centimeter, QR will be surely 5 centimeter, and that is the only possible value of n. This is everything about this problem, problem number 53. Moving on to problem number 50, 50th problem. A man completes 7/8 of a job in 21 days. How many more days will it take him to finish the job if quantum of work is further increased by 50%? Here what you can do is, he has given the fraction 7/8. You can start by any number which is divisible by 8. Let us assume that 200 is of course divisible by 8. So let me start with 200. You can take any number in fact. So this is how I am defining the work. The work is arranging 200 chairs in this class itself is the work. This is how I am defining the work. If 200 chairs are arranged here, the work is finished. And he is taking 21 days time to do 7/8 of the work. See, 7/8 of 200, this is the work. 8 ones are 8, 25s are 25, 7s are 175. To arrange 175 chairs, he is taking how many days time? 21 days time. This is how we can softly avoid fractions. Now, no more fractions here, right? Now, he wants to, not just he wants to do the remaining work, the job, he wants to finish the job if quantum of work is further increased by 50%. 50% increment, already it is 200, if it is increased by 50%, that is half, that is 100, it will be 300. To finish the job, if quantum of work is further increased by 50%. So it is not just arranging 200 chairs, now it has become, the work has become arranging 300 chairs, and already 175 have been arranged. 300, arranging 300 is the work, 175 already have been arranged by him. So this is the work to be done. To arrange 125 chairs, how many more days he will take? First one always in the denominator, rest in the numerator. 25 5s are 25 7s are 7 1s are 7 3s are 5 3s are 15. So the last option is the correct answer. The last option D, 15 days is the final answer. So this is everything about problem number 50. This is a problem on time and work. Friends, moving on to problem number 48. 48th problem, if the price of an article is decreased by 20%, then the new price is increased by 25%, then what is the net change in the price? Assuming the price is 100 rupees, first it is decreased by 20% for every 120 less. So now it is reading 80, and after this it will be increased by 25%. It is now being increased by 25%. 25% means quarter. Quarter of this is 20. So again we got back to the same 100 rupees, meaning the very first option is the correct answer. 0%, no change, 0% change, right? So this is everything about problem number 48. It is a problem on percentages. Friends, this is the end of part 1 of this CSAT question paper. In part 2, we will be solving the remaining problems. Thank you.